Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the AI Shift with Scott. I'm Scott, and yesterday I introduced you to myself and the channel. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the tools that I've assembled for my AI activities with my work. Here's what we're looking at right now. I've created an assembly of different functions and different tasks for the needs that each of them have, and these will probably change over time. That's an important subject for us to touch on right away before we analyze too many of these pieces, which is that the underlying need and capabilities of AI will remain. The actual steps we may take this week versus next month or obviously next year are going to change. So I'm not giving you a prescription for what you should be doing right now and use these exact tools in this exact way. The actual tools that I've assembled and used are a reflection of what I'm doing right now, and more importantly, what I've done before and what I got comfortable with. I became familiar, and so I kept going in certain directions. You'll assemble the tools as you need them. And I want to say right now, that may be the thing that people have the most hesitancy on. This isn't something that you can break. You can try things. You need to oversee it. You need to manage it. You need to take in what it's saying with all that you already know and other things you can confirm. It's not the be-all and end-all, at least not now. Don't suppose it ever will be in my lifetime. What I want to show you is my thinking about how I assembled these tools to do what I'm doing, to maybe inspire you to not be as hesitant to reach out and try some things out. So on this diagram, we're taking a look at some of the things that I've done to stovepipe my activities. In the first realm, as the solo operator of certain functions of my work, I'm currently using a desktop version of the Claude application. This is a place where I can do co-work and I can think big projects through. It's my deep workplace. Now, when I have a little bit more of a questioning, I just want to kind of get some direction on something, I might pop into my Claude browser, which I had been using for a while before the application became something I used. And so I have a bit of a history there of things I've done before and I can refer back to, and I don't have to re-inform and re-educate Claude what I'm doing. And fortunately, these environments are relatively similar to each other. So if you learn one and then want to switch to the other, you're not going to have a hard time doing that. I also use ChatGPT, which is another provider. So I'm not endorsing or recommending any specific provider when I talk about this structure, but that's the environment that is working in a sort of individual contributions in a shared environment to ensure throughput is possible, as you'll see in a little bit, of why that's necessary. The ChatGPT environment that I'm using is tying into its capabilities in an interface that allows me to do what I need to do, as we look at this last part of the diagram, with what is referred to as OpenClaw. This is where there is an environment for there to be collaboration with the other person on my team. It's basically our team workspace. And my business partner actually took the lead in establishing the mindset and researching and designing steps and processes with that interaction. So that particular device that's tied into ChatGPT is aware of what we're doing and understanding our goals and objectives and helped us organize them, prioritize, and create action plans for us to work on. So that's where we're at right now with the big stack of the tools. Inside of my world, as you can see on the left side here in the purple area, this is where I'm doing my more deep thinking type work. I'm using Claude for that right now. Now, it's possible that one of these models that I've not even mentioned by name is more suited or better suited today for that function. But at the time I began some of these projects, it was the best in class. And since those projects are still underway, I have not migrated to something else. I want to make sure I'm not just hopping around all the time from one platform to another. So in here, I'm doing data models, I'm analyzing stats, I'm doing research and analysis interactively. I create PowerPoint presentations for when I'm making a presentation to a large audience. I take a look at some of my daily tasks, my functionality. I'm going to talk more detail about some of these things so I think you can replicate some of the advances I've made in each of these areas as we go forward in other videos. And I also even use it for some of my video editing for general activities and even what I'm doing to share with you here. Whereas in the OpenClaw environment, where my business partner also has access, we're doing more of the larger business functionalities, the product development, the consideration of going into new markets and new niches within those markets, building sales funnels, designing and building a knowledge base of our SaaS product, and doing actual software design and coding, all in an environment that allows the process to move much more quickly because we can use plain English to work on these projects and not get stuck in wondering what we even need to research. It's able to tell us what we could potentially be doing next. I love the interface that's developed in some of these applications recently, particularly that I use a lot of Claude for some of my activity of recent. And it provides sometimes a multiple choice response to a question that it has that it needs an answer to in order to keep going. And I think that's really made it a lot more capable to be integrated into our lives because we like choices. We like it to think of possibilities. It likes to confirm or redirect our thinking along these lines, that it's making sure it's following what we're trying to do. So with this environment, even though I'm working in my space and my business partner is working somewhere else, 500 miles away, we're able to build together. I do things on my end, and I'm able to collaborate with us as a business entity much more productively than ever before. So how it all connects together, I'm using the OpenClaw environment for the basic business strategies. That's myself and my partner. We use it to grow our business on a macro level and even on a micro level in terms of implementations. I do a lot of the actual functionality of the SaaS product itself inside my Claude interactions today. Perhaps in the future that will change. And in the end, it creates a product, a SaaS product that is in the commercial real estate industry and has been a landmark product for now running over 15 years of activity. So we have now two people using three different structures or platforms to build this one product. And from all of that being in place, we have the opportunity to then branch out in a way that would not have been possible, only imagined and theorized, and create enormous investment costs to actualize, to grow that business past the niche that it's in already. We're a boutique firm. We want to be more. And so we're going to lay the foundation here to make that possible, to not just perfect and automate and simplify and validate all the things that we already do, but to grow exponentially. So that's our purpose for doing this together. And tomorrow, I will tell you about how the business created its niche a little bit so that you know a little bit more about the business, so you have something to refer to in your mind as you think this through for yourself and find your own parallel. And then how a two-person team really needs the firepower of AI to grow in a massive way. I'll see you then.